All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16 with
Boom.
Max Barr, SEC basketball talk on a Tuesday. Trust me, I know we will probably get some comments. We are well aware that it is SEC Football Media Day. Well aware. But hey, we do this every Tuesday here. We do this multiple times a week in the offseason for SEC basketball. And so, you know what, Max? SEC football will get their time. But right now, we got some basketball to talk. Bold predictions day, Max. Are you ready?
The show must go on, Blake. The show must go on.
Come on. Listen, you could be right now listening to, let's see, you could be listening to Hugh Freeze, Kirby Smart, Josh Heupel, or Steve Sarkisian today at SEC Football Media Day. Pretty good lineup, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what else, pretty good lineup. The Florida Gators against the Arizona Wildcats, which we're going to talk about, are way too early. Non-conference big game previews start today. Talk about the Gators and the Cats. Not our Cats, okay?
Not our
Not
Cats.
the Kentucky Wildcats. But come on. So
Someone's Cats.
someone's Cats. So Jacob, we appreciate you jumping in. Jacob says nobody's trying to talk about college basketball on July 15th. Well, Jacob is new to the channel. That is very clear because otherwise you would realize we've been doing this every week for literally probably a year or more. 2 years, possibly. So we appreciate you, Jacob. Go check out the football stuff. Media Day going on, as we said. Hugh Freeze probably at the podium right now, getting asked about his golf game. But speaking of golf games, I don't even, there's no transition there. But Kristen said, here to talk college basketball on July 15th.
Yeah.
Skylar's here. Lincoln's here. Shane's going to go Southeastern 16, greater than SEC Media Day. I'm a little biased, but I would agree. So anchor down for Justin.
The people want to talk hoops, Blake.
Okay, the people
we're gonna give them what they want.
Talking basketball, of course they are.
You got your game time coffee.
Oh,
this is the best way to start the morning right here.
What a beautiful cup. Have I told you about Game Time Sidekicks today? I haven't, but I'm going to tell you about them in just a bit. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get to our bold predictions here in just a minute. But first off, let's hit a couple other topics real quick. Obviously, the Tahaad Pettiford thing has happened since the last time we talked. Arrested for DUI, and I know Bruce Pearl put out a statement. Tahaad Pettiford put out a statement talking about it, and I'll just kind of read you quickly what they both said. I'm sure you guys have already seen it. If you haven't, I will just read it, so it's there for you. Bruce Pearl, quote, "We are aware of the situation. We'll handle it internally with Tahaad and his family. We take these matters seriously and will learn and grow from it moving forward." Tahaad Pettiford took to social media on Saturday to issue his apology for what went down. Quote, "Last night I made a serious mistake and one that I take full responsibility for. My actions put myself and others at risk, and for that I'm deeply sorry. There is no excuse. To my family, teammates, coaches, and fans, I know I've let you down. I understand the disappointment and concern that this has caused, and I want you to know that I'm taking this seriously. This is not who I am and not who I will be. I'm committed to learning from this moment and making meaningful, positive changes in my life. I'm grateful for the support and accountability of those around me, and I will work to earn back the trust I've lost," end quote. So, again, you kind of got the statement there that obviously it's a matter that Auburn will handle internally, and Pettiford, I think, a pretty mature response to what happened. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously I don't really know what we add to it other than certainly an unfortunate situation and certainly high expectations for Tahaad Pettiford entering 25-26.
Yeah, just glad no injuries or anything like that. You know, there's been many times before where we've read the start of that news headline and it ends pretty tragically. So just glad there was no injuries or anything like that. We've seen that before. But also as a young man, I don't even know if I'd call myself a man yet, Blake. I just turned 25. I make mistakes like every 2 hours. So as long as like you said, mature response and, going to try to make a positive impact. But it's not ideal for Auburn when your star player is in the news in mid-July for a reason like this. So got to bounce back. It's all about bouncing back.
Shane asked, does he miss games because of this? I obviously I don't know the definitive answer. I would say probably yes. I would guess maybe, but again, I don't want to. I don't know. Like it's we're still less than 4 months away from the season. It is like you said something that they're going to handle. But
we're approaching 100
hard.
days away, Blake. Approaching 100 days.
We are almost 100 days away.
Yep.
So yeah, it's hard to answer that right now. I would think so, possibly, but how many I don't know. If that is the case. So
yeah.
Anyways, we'll see. All right, we continue on here as let's talk about the NCAA tournament expansion. Max Barr.
Yeah.
Did you know that was being talked about right now? Did you have any idea?
Can you tell by the look on my face?
Aren't you just thrilled about this? Yeah. So the NCAA tournament expansion continues to be the hot topic. Greg Sankey on Monday at SEC football media day, I think. I don't know if he was asked about that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he maybe would, or mentioned it or something like that. So here was his comments. Quote, we think there are enough quality teams to make this growth appropriate. Nothing in college basketball is static, so tournament expansion is certainly worth exploring. Another quote from Sankey, to be clear, we support expansion, but you don't just jump into it. So if there are reasons from a broadcast point, a financial point, logistics point, wait a second, Greg Sankey, stop, pause on the quote. Logistics.
What are you saying?
Are you telling me that perhaps Greg Sankey is also invested in Sanders Logistics, a.k.a. Sanders Moving? The quote continues, or competitive realities that don't support expansion. Again, we're going to be fine, but in general, think this is the right direction to at least explore. What else do you say? This thing's going to expand. Let's all just call it what it is. The tournament's going to get bigger. It may happen next year. It may happen the year after that. It's going to get bigger.
It's not what I wanted
That's
to
what
hear,
she
Blake.
said.
It's really not what I wanted. All right.
It's SEC basketball in July. Come on. No one's talking about it, but we're going to make jokes because we got to do something. It's going to get bigger, Max.
I have one request, Blake. Keep the bracket one page. That is my request. If this thing gets bumped out to 2 pages and it is now annoying to fill out a bracket, it is now a task to fill out a bracket, to get your coworkers in the office space that don't normally watch hoops to fill out a bracket. If it is now a task, they've ruined it.
Max, look who's back. Guess who's back? Back again. Mother Carol is back. Made it to the live stream this morning. I'm with you. Yeah, come on. If you're going to expand it, then you gotta make sure that we keep this thing one page. Okay, we're filling out our brackets. Can't be going double pages here.
Nope.
I don't know what the number winds up being. 72? Is it 76? My thinking has stayed the same on this. Yes, I know the SEC just got 14 teams in the tournament last year. Do I want all 16 teams to make the tournament? Sure I do, because it's good for Southeastern 16. But do I think that there is a scenario where all 16 teams making the tournament and leaving out, let's say, a regular season champion that happens to get beat in their conference tournament in the ASUN or the Big West or all these others? Would I support that? No. I would rather... My thought on this has always been the same. Look, I don't have a perfect solution here of how you fix this. You know where I stand on this, Max. I've always said I think the regular season champion should be in the NCAA tournament. I realize we play tournaments, in March because it's great drama and money and all this other stuff. But if you're telling me that a team, again, ASUN, Big West, whatever, they've gone through their conference and they've won that many games, and sometimes, in some cases, they are the 2 or 3 games ahead of the number 2 team in the conference, and then they just go into the tournament and they lose in the championship game or something like that. They win a couple games, lose in the championship game by a point. You're telling me that team doesn't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. Get out of here. Like, and I know it's basketball. Oh, hey, it's just, come on, those are the consequences. You lose a game in March, you're out of there. Sure. But that should be in the NCAA tournament, not just to me in the conference tournaments. I don't think you should be eliminating the teams that have, for 30-something games, proven that they are the best team in that conference. And so that, again, doesn't equate to the power conferences. I'm talking about the smaller ones. I think that's where, if you're going to expand this thing, find a way to expand it where you make sure the regular season champions get in. Because if you don't do that, we're just going to keep taking teams. And I know, look, the SEC, hey, we pump the SEC juice around here. But we also like to be realistic in that, do I think LSU or South Carolina should have made the NCAA tournament last year, even if they would have, won, 7 games in the SEC? I don't know. Like, probably not. So, I'd rather have one of these other teams that did it that way. So, I don't know. There's my rant for the day.
It just happened 2 years ago with Indiana State. Remember, they were number 1 in the Missouri Valley all year, and they had all the media attention because they had Robbie Avila, and they had Conwell still, and they had Julian Larry still, and Jason Kent, and then they lost by a bucket or two to Drake in their conference championship. Indiana State doesn't get in there, a top 40 team in KenPom. That's my problem also, is because by expanding the theory of fans is, oh, nice, we're going to get more Indiana States in, more FAUs in. Nope. It's going to be 19-16 Nebraska and 20-13 Villanova. That's who's going to be the benefit of this, not the mid-majors that us fans would like. It's going to be these 20-14 Power 5 teams that get in now.
Well, and again, we're kidding ourselves. Sean brings it up in the comments. Like, the huge following for top teams, the financial aspect of it, we'd be silly to ignore that is a big reason why. Like, we're not naive here. But again, it's tricky either way, because like, you could also make the argument against the one that I made, where it's like, well, what happens if 2 teams finish with the same record in a conference? Are we just going to go with the coin flip? Are we just going to go with the tiebreaker and that sends one team to the tournament? I don't know. Yeah. Like, that's, you can, again, argue both ways here. I've always thought that, and this is for me, probably like there were years where I'm covering the OVC or something, and Belmont is the number 1 seed, and they're having to play multiple games to get into the tournament when they were just steamrolling everyone during the season, right? It just doesn't make sense that they should have to play as many games as the other teams to get to the NCAA tournament. So, yes, you give them 1 bye, but you also give the 2 seed a bye. You give this team yeah. I just that's my thought on that, and we're going to get this thing to 72 or 76. Eventually, it probably goes higher because of the NCAA tournament, and it's a moneymaker. It's the best sporting event in sports, my opinion, in terms of just, obviously tournament-based stuff. Like, it is, there's nothing like it. But to me, I'm like, we're just going to keep filling this thing with teams that at best probably can win a game or 2. And also, I want this part too. If you're going to expand this friggin' tournament, Max, why on earth are we forcing the 16 seeds who won their conference tournaments? Why are we making them play in Dayton? Take the 8 teams. Yeah. If you're going to keep doing the first 4, whatever, take the 8 teams or whatever that number is, the bubble teams. All the bubble teams are playing each other to get into this thing. That's the way it should be. We should not be putting the 2 16 teams. They should get an automatic ride to get their opportunity to play the number 1 seed in the tournament. They all won their conference tournaments to get there. It's just ridiculous that I think, why? Why not just take all the bubble teams and force them to play each other to play their way in? I'd be perfectly fine with that too. And then fill in the 11 and 12 seeds, whatever, 10, 11, whatever, wherever they're at in the seeding. Fill it in after that. But stop making the 16s who won their conference tournament go out and play another game to get into the tournament. And you can say, oh, well, they're getting the NCAA tournament experience. They get to go to Dayton. They're on TV, blah, blah, blah. No. They won their conference tournament. They should be playing on the biggest stage against one of the 4 1 seeds, and they should get that opportunity. They shouldn't have to go beat another team that did the same thing that they did just to get into this tournament. Like, come on.
And you know what's going to happen? you know what's going to happen? An Oregon State from 2021 is going to happen. And they're going to, like a team that got in the last 8 that had no business being in, just somehow the 3-point variance really rocks their way or something. They put together a few wins and everyone goes, see, we did need to expand. That's going to happen.
Yeah, of course. And then of course, 5 years from now, well, remember that time they just, we should probably add 4 more teams. And
we should do more.
Actually, let's just add 8 more teams. And so, I think that's
slippery
it.
slope.
So make the bubble teams earn it. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care if there's 4 SEC teams playing in Dayton. You got to earn it. So earn your spot into that. And someone, like you said, will usually make a run. But these are some of the changes that should be made. Greg Sankey, if you're listening, you're probably not. You're watching SEC Football Media Days like everybody else. But he may be watching Southeastern 16. We don't know. We can't confirm that he's not. So
I apologize to Sam and the Vols fans who I just gave 4-year-old Wayne Tinkle nightmares. I'm sorry.
Sam is not happy about your Oregon State reference there. The Beavers were not kind to the Vols on that day. So, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Anyways, all right. Chris is on board with my theory here.
Yeah.
Big Gator EJ on board. Mother Carol wants him to call me. Listen, I'll give you my thoughts. As you can tell, I have pretty strong thoughts on this with the tournament. But all right, let's continue on. Max, anything else you want to add there?
Are we going to bold predictions? Or are we going to Florida other cats?
Let's do some bold predictions. Then we'll make Big Gator EJ wait as he's drinking his morning coffee out on the West Coast. We'll make him wait for the Florida-Arizona discussion in just a bit. But don't worry, Sam Smith. You're going to get your Chris Lee, Jay Grease, and Phil coming up in a couple hours. They're going to talk about some they're going to talk about Max dropping his microphone live on air. They will talk SEC football today, as usual. So, they'll have their media day thoughts, talking Hugh Freeze, Josh Heupel, Nick Saban. Is he returning to coaching? Greg McElroy seemed to think that's a possibility. But
could it be?
Yeah. So we'll see. All right, bold predictions, Max. You ready? Max and I had a little discussion beforehand. He knows how prepared I am for these bold predictions, but I will let him.
5.
I will find 5 as well to match yours. So, look at this, Max. Look at this right here. My.
What a way to start.
It's a good time before we jump into the bold predictions. Big Gator EJ is saying, you know what? I'm drinking my coffee right now in my Game Time Sidekicks National Championship mug.
Ooh.
The Florida Gators, the defending national champions. If you want to drink your coffee in your Game Time Sidekicks National Championship mug, which right now you would have to either be a Florida fan, an LSU fan, I guess, or an Ohio State fan. That's a way you can do it with our friends at Game Time Sidekicks because, as you know, the best of the best, officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. All the SEC schools, they got them. Over 350 more universities, they have that. Top of the market quality as far as construction. They got the ice retention. Who loves ice retention more than me? All you guys out there. All the logo printing and product decoration done in Knoxville. Tons of designs and logos offered for each school. They even offer the college vault line. Very few brands have those. And everything from the stainless steel sippy cups, the tumblers, the 40-ounce bottles, and the shaker cups. It's all there. So remember, you guys have gotten the upgrades of all upgrades. If you want to buy something over at Game Time Sidekicks, go over there right now. No longer 10%, 20% discount for you guys. SE16, 20% discount to our viewers. Check it out. Anything you buy over there, put that discount code in there, and that helps out the channel, and it helps out our friends at Game Time Sidekicks. So, all right, bold predictions. Are we ready, Max? Let's start with yours.
I think we start with Justin's here. Bold prediction. Vanderbilt is the top-selling Sidekick mug. Is there a way we could pull the data on this?
Yeah, let me pull it right now. Let's see. Justin, that is inaccurate. That is not true. I don't know. We will ask. We will inquire as to where Vanderbilt sits on the selling. Now, you know what I think? I think what I should tell you is that they're actually not the top selling. So you need to go out and get the Vanderbilt fans to start buying from Game Time Sidekicks, promo code SE16.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
All right.
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Some of these are bolder than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some may not be bold enough, but I tried to get a nice variation. I'm gonna start light. We're gonna ease into this. I'm going individual player bold prediction here. Individual player bold prediction. I'm going Trayvon Brazil. Brazil is going to earn an all SEC honor like we expected in the offseason 2 years ago. Entering when he had that major offseason hype. He was coming off the injury. I think we were a bit ambitious with the Brazil. He had those really nice Maui games where he was flashing the threes and he was alley-ooping, dunking, rim protecting, and we were excited. Didn't pan out as quickly as we thought. However, him playing down the stretch last year, he was an absolute rock for that front court, Blake, an absolute rock. And reports out of practice are that he beefed up even more, put on a good amount of muscle, put on a good amount of weight. I mean, I think this is a Cal rotation that's going to be tight. I think it's going to be tight, 7-8 guys, and I think Brazil is going to be a 30-minute a game guy there at the 4. Last year, top 15 in the SEC in defensive rebounding percentage, ranked in block percentage. I think Brazil is going to have that season we expected 2 years ago this year.
All right, before I give you my comments on that, Mother Carol has dropped a $32 super chat. $1 for every pound that Mother Carol has lost since May. Still a long way to go, but should be there by March Madness. Let's all come on. 32 since May. That is incredible. Shout out to Mother Carol. Everybody's been asking, where's Mother Carol? Doing more important things. That's where she's been. She's like not sitting here like me and Max all day on the computer watching SEC basketball highlights for the 40th time. Out here doing something productive. So that's awesome.
Mother Carol, I'm curious. What was the method? Was this diet? Was this a combination of diet, walking, cycling? Could have had many options here. Like 32 pounds since May is a lot.
Requires a lot of moving.
It does.
So maybe Mother Carol is giving our friends at Sanders a call. Awesome stuff. All right. Nice. Everyone in the chat should be leaving the emoji right now. There's 200 plus of you watching. You should be leaving the emojis.
Keto.
Clapping, thumbs ups, all this stuff. The keto is it right there. We appreciate you, Mother Carol, and that is fantastic. All right. So on Brazil, I agree with you. I think you mentioned the high expectations, the injury that year cut that season short for him. But if Arkansas is going to be really good, I think he's got to be a big part of that. There's no question. So I like that one. All right, you ready for my team bold prediction? One of my 5 here.
Okay. Hit me.
Should have just did that as a segue with Justin a second ago. Bold prediction, team-wise, Vanderbilt finishes in the top 5 in the SEC.
I love it. I might love it too much.
Well, I'll tell you who doesn't love it. That is Vegas. Because this is absurd to me. Absolutely absurd. Vanderbilt right now has the second worst national championship odds of any team in the SEC. I think if you want to just take a shot, you're like, you know what? This could be a life-changing decision here where you just throw down $10 on Vanderbilt at plus 25,000 right now. Max, if I throw down $10, that's not enough. That's not a life-changing decision. If I throw down $100 on Vanderbilt, I'm winning $25,000. That could be a life-changing decision. But I just think it's ridiculous that that's where they're sitting at. They are tied with South Carolina. Georgia is the worst right now in terms of the odds. But I think it's absurd. I just do. LSU is significantly further ahead than Vanderbilt. Other teams are as well. I'm telling you, We've mentioned it. We're all in right now on this team. I'm going to go Vanderbilt, finishing the top 5.
In terms of value, because I know not multiple, I just know it's a strategy amongst more seasoned pro bettors in the futures market. You're not betting to think that team is going to win the national title.
Sure.
You're betting because they might have an opportunity to advance far, and you have hedge opportunities for guaranteed profit. You're telling me that that's the number on a Vanderbilt team that's probably going to start grad, junior, senior, who with tons of height, tons of shooting, tons of Power 5 experience. I mean, that's just disrespectful. That is just disrespectful.
Vegas just sleeping on the Commodores right now.
Sleeping.
And I understand it because, again, it's July, but it's time. Like, if you're gonna get on the Vanderbilt bandwagon, do it now, because I just don't know. If we were to just completely swing and miss on them, it's going to be, to me, it's probably just injuries, because that is the only way, as I'm looking at this roster, that I see a scenario where they are not very competitive. I know they have a lot of new guys. They've added transfers, but so does a lot of other teams. And the guys they've added are producers, like they're contributors. And we mentioned you got a potential first-team All-SEC guy coming back, and Tyler Nickel, if things go according to plan, could be one of the top scorers in the league. Devin McLaughlin was high up there in the analytics all last year. Tyler Tanner goes into his sophomore season. I mean, you got Chandler Bing on the roster. What's not to like about the Commodores?
People have just forgotten about Duke Miles, too.
Yeah, Duke Miles just looking like it's an afterthought. Are you kidding me? Like, you watched this guy last year? Come on. So, Justin, $2 super chat. Don't you dare give me hope. Remember, it's a bold prediction. I'm not saying they're going to finish in the top 5, but we got to get bold here. And I don't hate that one. So, all right.
All right, I am going to go to team. I have 3 positive, 2 negative. I didn't want to be all just fairy tales in Wonderland, but I didn't also want to be negative Nelly. So I split it up. So this one is on the negative side. I have got well, it's negative depending on how you look at it. It could turn out well. But I have Auburn does not earn a top 4 seed line in March. And I'm thinking of that in terms of in February, when we're really starting to get excited about college basketball and the committee releases those protected seeds, the top 4 seeds, the top 16 teams that they rank. And then you can kind of base your bracketology off of that. I do not think they're in that conversation. That's the take. They're not in that top 4 protected seed conversation in February. I think they're probably floating somewhere around like 25 to low 30s in KenPom, kind of give or take 5 spots, right around like the high 20s. I think that's where they sit. You could call it a bold prediction, call it not, but not in that top 4 seed line. I think they're more like a 5 or 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't hate it, and I know Auburn fans will hate it, but we mentioned, I think Auburn, it is a year that we're kind of not used to with them, where we just have a lot more questions than we're usually have, just because we were so used to that core team over the past couple of years, the same guys and all of that. And so I think it's fair to have more questions now coming into this season. Because, again, we've brought it up. Like, what happens if Tahaad Pettiford's not on the floor? What does that team look like without him driving the show on the court? I think that's the thing. If he's not the leader out there with the ball in his hands at point guard, which, point guard's the guy who sort of does. Like, they fuel everything here. I think that's a reasonable question. But also, they have potential breakout candidates at, 3 different positions. So, I mean, I just feel like there's a little bit more of that potential volatility, with them. But to be a bold prediction, I think it's definitely something that I don't think is that out there, just based on what our expectations are. And I know people are going to bring up the fact that I said driving the show and all this other stuff. We use the same quotes, everyone, all the time. Okay, obviously it was not a joke. I wasn't referencing what happened. Come on, Keep Aiden in Tuscaloosa. Come on. All right, let's continue on.
Hey, Keep Aiden in Tuscaloosa, by the way. I hope everything was all right last time.
Checking
in from the emergency room.
Yeah, so give us an update there. Keep Aiden in Tuscaloosa. What happened? Give us your update on that.
Hope everything was all right. But
all right.
Blake, honestly, my concern with Auburn, like I've mentioned before, but it's more with just what does Auburn look like when Murph isn't out there? Because he's not going to be able to play 40 minutes a game. And so what is, say it's, a big time game that Auburn might have won last year, like a game against a top 5 team. And, how does that look if the front court for 5-10 minutes is Sebastian Williams Adams and Emeka Oporum? Then I start having some doubts. So it's just more the depth.
Yeah, to me, I think that's it. All right. Are we ready to continue?
Yes.
Okay, so let me make sure we may have missed a super chat here quickly on Justin. Justin, $2 super chat. Sells the car and puts all money on Vandy to be top 5. Well, again, Justin, that is not probably what you should do. But nonetheless. Zach's here, by the way. Says Vandy is plus 10,000 on the FanDuel. But DraftKings must just be. They must not like the Commodores. All right. Let's continue on here. I've got another bold prediction coming up. And I don't know how bold this is. So this, if you've heard me... Okay, well, if you've heard me talk about this probably isn't as bold as you would think, but I'm like, to me, this still sort of classifies. All right? Bold prediction, Max, you ready for it? Carter Knox, SEC Player of the Year.
I would say that's bold.
I mean, it's bold, but I've talked about him so much, I feel like, this offseason that I don't know if it's as bold as it would have been if I just would have completely came out of nowhere with that one. But I mentioned, when you look at the production for this guy last year, the way he finished the season, very strong. I think he came back. And one of the things, too, like I think he was a bit underrated in terms of some of the defensive value that he added. I feel like he's going to be in a position where, like we said, on this team, it's a very loaded roster of guys that are going to contribute a lot, especially look at that group in the backcourt. But, man, if he can kind of be that dude, right, on a team that we expect to finish in the top 3 in the SEC, I think you can maybe go out on a limb on a bit and say, hey, he may be the guy that has the best chance. So give me Carter Knox, SEC Player of the Year.
I've seen that floated around. I've seen it floated. I've not seen anybody take a stand with that. However, after we did our preseason way too early power rankings a little while ago, and in preparation for that, I started watching some of that Arkansas run, the March Madness games again, and I was just like reminded, wow, Carter Knox was a force. Just no one was stopping him getting to the rim. He was just a bully. That felt good coming off the tongue. I haven't been talking about bully ball in a while, but
wow.
I agree, Blake. I like that one. I would call it bold, though. I would.
I think it is. I think it's bold. By the way, Alan, here, we'll kind of just throw this in because it is, part of the conversation. But bold prediction that if JQ gets healthy, wins SEC Player of the Year. I like that one too, because I think he's got probably the more proven body of work of the two players, and I think, that would be, I could absolutely see that if he's good to go, we say it, right? If he's good to go, like his production is going to, there's not a lot of people in this league that are going to be able to probably compare to the production that he could put up if he's 100% healthy, ready to go. I mean, he's a beast. So, yeah.
It's the biggest if of the season, I think, because he's a guy that could do that. He's not the same type of Amari Williams, but in the sense of giving the ball at the top of the key, and he's a playmaker. He's not just a low post guy. Perfect. So yeah, could totally see it if it happens.
All right. So just quickly, the update from Keep Aiden in Tuscaloosa. Everything was okay. You can pull this up, Max, if you don't mind. I have another tab open, but got the 1 ER doctor at hospital, been known for decades. Home same day. Family member had an ambulance run, so all is good. They're good to hear it. And also, look at that, in a gifting mood, gave out 5 memberships to our Southeastern 16 audience here. Colonel Cotton Belt, Max, picked up a membership.
What a name.
Timothy picked it up. Farrell, Joe D picked one up. Chris picked one up as well. So congrats to you guys. picking those up. Remember, automated, you don't choose those. So you won the lottery today, picking up the Southeastern 16 membership. All right. How many in are we? 2?
Yep.
All right.
We can move along. Also, Miles, I just want to say this gets brought up about every other stream. It's coming back. I went with the Blake. What do you think about the new? I went with the high and tight for the summer. High and tight haircut.
I like it. I think our friends at Game Time Sidekicks and our friends at ROKFORM, who we're going to talk about in a second, I think they would be like, we are really excited that this is the person right here that is representing our brand.
Yep. Yeah. Stash is going to be a seasonal. It's coming back. All right. I've got a. Should I save my boldest for last, or should I
save that for last?
Okay. I'm going to go. Well, this one is pretty bold. Also, we're moving up there in the bold scale, guys. I have got the Gators, Florida Gators. I don't know how I want to say this because it's gonna change how bold it is. I'll say the Florida Gators flirt with an undefeated conference schedule. I'm talking one loss. I'm talking one loss, maybe 2. Yep. Bold, like the way we were talking about Auburn like a month into the season about, holy crap, who's going to beat this team? They're going to be favored to win by blah 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 points in every matchup. So whoever does beat this team, it's going to be a multi-possession upset. That's my bold. Flirt with the undefeated conference record is my bold prediction for the Gators. You look at their road schedule, it sets up real nice, and they're going to have to win some tough games. They're going to have to win some really tough games. But when you look at the other teams even Vanderbilt, other teams that were like, ooh, sneaky, could be up there at the top, I think all of their schedules are tougher than Florida's.
All right, so Florida reminder of their schedule. Home and aways with Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky. I think they can win 5 of those 6 and feel pretty good about that. The Kentucky road game is the toughest of that group.
Yes.
Their road games at Ole Miss, at Missouri, at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, at Vanderbilt. That's a pretty rough road schedule. But they're all winnable without question. And I say that because their home schedule, Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Tennessee, LSU, Mississippi State. I would say that there are 4 teams in there, right? Tennessee, Auburn, Arkansas, Alabama, that we've said we feel like are in the top 6. They get all those teams at home. Mm-hmm. Don't head to those gyms. So I don't hate it. I think that if Florida, I don't hate it.
It was a prediction mainly based on what do I think the odds are going to be in each game. And I think that they're going to have in those road games compared to other games, other teams where it's like, say they caught Alabama on the road, just any of those top teams. They're going to probably be an underdog, a sizable, 3 to 4 point underdog. Whereas at Vandy, while it's going to be a really tough game, those odds are probably going to be pretty thin.
Bull Gator's not buying it. He's like, come on, Max, don't you do that to us. So
Bull Gator, I'm bullish on the Gators.
Look at that. This guy's a pro. What an absolute pro right there. Okay. I like that one. All right, let me find my next one for the bold prediction.
If you want me to keep going, I could keep going.
How about that? You go to your next one, and I'm gonna give you mine after that. Of course, as always, I'm not as prepared as you are when we go into these things.
Like I said, I flip-flopped between positive and not so positive, so we're gonna flip back on the other side. It's still, I think this is the second boldest prediction, though, just because it has not been done before in the current situation, and that is Chris Jans at Mississippi State is going to miss the first tournament appearance. Yep, they've made it 3 years in a row, and I'm going with a bold prediction that streak ends at 3. I do not think that they're going to be able to withstand the SEC slate. I think this might be a team I'm not saying they're going to just absolutely fall off a cliff, but it could be a team where they only have 1 or 2 losses heading into SEC play. And then it is just so tough to get a win. They're undersized in the backcourt. So they're not going to, they're going to have a sparky offensive backcourt, but it's not going to be good defensively. And I have probably more questions in their front court than I do with any team in the league. There's no Cam Matthews enforcer. There's no Murph. They're kind of matchup nightmare. It's really just Hubbard, go hit 12 threes, which could happen in a few games, but I don't like this roster that much.
All right. Well, that may tie into mine because I think this was one I was flirting with, but I don't know if I want to go with it.
Oh.
My bold prediction, the SEC gets 10 teams to the NCAA tournament. Listen, we're trying to be bold here. So I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm just coming up with a bold prediction for what could happen. And to me, I'm like, as I'm thinking through this, I'm thinking, what's the number that's bold, right? Let's all remember that the SEC's previous record for number of teams in the tournament was what, 8? 9? What was it? And then they just jumped up to 14? So could the law of averages bring it back, right? To where it's like, okay, my bold predictions, they only get 10 in. Well, that's still double-digit teams in the tournament. It's just not 14, right? But it goes off of what you just said. I think there are some of these teams that are going to be considered middle of the pack, lower, projected type teams that you could legitimately see lose multiple non-conference games. And if that happens, I'm going to keep going back to that. The reason the SEC got 14 teams in last year was not that the SEC in conference play was perfect, that they just had all these teams that were just great. It was because of what those teams were able to do in non-conference play. And we said it, every single thing went right except for one. Only one thing went wrong, and that was South Carolina's first game of the season against North Florida. Legitimately, that was the only thing in non-conference play that you kind of just said, oh, that wasn't great. Mm-hmm. But even if your team lost a game to a good team, that wasn't bad because you had enough wins elsewhere to make up for it, right? And so that's why I am looking at this and being like, logically, do I think the SEC is going to go 185-23 again in non-conference play, whatever that number was? I don't. I think that is a very hard thing to do. So how many of these teams are playing in these competitive tournaments and all that? They won all those games last year. Do I think the talent is there for them to win the games again this year? Yes, of course I do. But it's just you're playing the law of averages here. And I don't know that we should just expect all these wins that were there last year in non-conference play to be there. And if they're not, then guess what happens? You're not getting teams that went 6-12 in the SEC into the tournament this year. That's not happening. So I don't know. I hope it's not. But I don't mind going out on a limb a little bit here to say maybe we should keep our expectations in check a little bit about a repeat of 14.
I'm glad you put that in my head because now I'm going to be excited with anything more than 10. That's a nice little reset there. I appreciate
that. Was my whole point. I mean, that was kind of what I was trying to do here. Bring everybody down so that you're excited once we go back to 14 or 15. I thought about it, I was like, I might go 15. I might just say, 15 teams get in. So
that would be bold.
Yeah, would be bold. All right,
Alan,
your next one.
Another bold prediction says Chris Beard wins Coach of the Year. I also like that. I think, now that I think about it, as the chat has been given in their bold predictions, I'll show. I think the JQ Player of the Year, if healthy, might be my favorite from the chat just because I could see it 100%. He comes in and looks fantastic. Yep, right there. That's a good
that.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is going to be my boldest. Is
this number 5 for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I didn't put a number for what they finished like you did with like Vandy top 5. If you want to call it top 5 with this just to put a number on it, you can. In my notes, I had shock the league. That's what I had. So I don't know, whatever you want is shock in the league. Okay. But it's my last bold prediction is Trent Burns unlocks Missouri and shocks the league. I'm talking this guy is a unicorn, a difference maker, completely unlocks the team. Rim protection, he's stepping out offensively as a stretch five. It unlocks the middle and down low for Mark Mitchell to operate in more space. I'm talking a complete like game changer completely, and really shocks the league. And Missouri is a top 5, top 6. They're right up there. They have great rim protection, a very dynamic and unusual offense, and it all starts with Mark Mitchell and Anthony Robinson, but it's unlocked by the stuff that Trent Burns can do.
I like that. I mean, you mentioned it. I think you're going to need some of that with this Missouri team. I think we kind of talked about them. You're going to need a little bit of that. You're going to have multiple breakout type players, right? And I feel like he is definitely one just based on the roster construction of one that could fit that criteria for sure. Because we mentioned kind of just the depth in the front court, kind of those early rotations for Dennis Gates. They're always very experimental, it feels like. And yeah, so I think we kind of find out what happens there with him. Okay, I want to bring up this one from Skylar real quick. Bowl prediction outside the SEC. SMU wins the ACC. Come on. You guys know I don't want to talk about SMU here. But, yeah. That would be bold based on the current favorites to win the ACC, I think. So,
Blake, I was listening to a Missouri podcast, and now it's going to kill me that I can't remember the guy's name that said the comparison, but he said Trent Burns to Mark Mitchell could be like Brook Lopez to Giannis in the terms of it's a new look 5 who can space the floor, and instead of creating shooters around a 5 to open space up for them, you put a shooter at the 5 to open up space for your 4 guy to operate inside. And now I'm not saying Mark Mitchell's Giannis, but the comparison about how they're going to complement each other, well, that could work.
All right, so is it fair of me just to steal one from the chat for one of my predictions? Because it's so good that I think we have to use it.
Okay.
RJ, not so bold prediction. Sir Tommy H wins the National Player of the Year. I'm all in on this one. I don't even care if this wasn't on my list. I'm all in. Now, of course, I had Carter Knox winning the SEC Player of the Year, but my thinking is that if that's the bold prediction, Sir Thomas is so good that they're like, you know what? We feel bad for everyone else, and so we're just going to let someone else win the SEC Player of the Year because this guy's going to just be a unanimous National Player of the Year vote. What do you think?
I think that's actually not that bold, to be honest.
I mean, dude should be first or second team All-American, right? I mean,
yeah, because if I can look up Evan Mia's player ratings, yeah, so Tommy H was 5th last year in the Evan Mia. It goes Flag, Broom, Tugler, Huff from Gonzaga, but he was like right on the edge of amount of minutes he needed to play. And so his analytics might be a little bit, but if you were going with a player of the year based on analytics right now, it'd be Tugler from Houston and then Tommy H second.
The masterful, majestic Tommy H.
Yeah.
Incredible. This guy is. All right. I got one more here, and then we'll get to some of the ones you guys have there as well. All right. So I'm going to give you kind of this one's a little bit, I would say a little bit more bold, but it goes with something that kind of fits into a team we've been talking about this offseason, and, sort of someone that we feel like has to kind of be a big-time player for this particular team, right? So, Max, I think you're going to appreciate this one.
Wait, can I try to guess it before you do it?
Sure.
I think I know who you're going to try to talk about.
Sure.
Are you about to talk about Darian Williams for NC State?
No. But in what is a very wild twist, I am about to talk about a Darian, but not Darian Williams. Darian Reed at Oklahoma. Are you ready for this, Max? 6'7", 200-pound sophomore, Darian Reed. We got Oklahoma's kind of one of those potential under-the-radar type teams. Darian Reed, first team All-SEC. Bold prediction.
You have started this train.
Hey.
And now you are starting to shovel more coal into the engine here.
Hey. I mean, give me a shot on a guy that I know last year, look, he averaged 6 points a game, 3 rebounds, 14 minutes a game at Alabama. But I anticipate a much different role for him at Oklahoma. I think if Oklahoma's going to win some games, tell me who else. Who's going to lead Oklahoma in scoring this year?
Pack?
Nigel Pack. All right, that's fine.
Maybe.
But, like, I'm thinking who's going to be the guy that can make the biggest impact at their best. I do feel like he's a potential guy. Now, look, Big Baller Brett's, telling me it's an interesting choice and all that. These are bold predictions. We're not expecting to get all these right. But, hey, it's like the Vanderbilt DraftKings thing, okay? Sometimes you just got to take a shot on the underdog. So, give me that as a potential option. But that is, of course, a scenario where everything has to go right for Oklahoma. But I'm excited to see him, and maybe that's more what this prediction's about. I'm excited to see the development now for him, going from Alabama to Oklahoma, freshman to sophomore. He's got the tools. He's got the skills. We saw it last year. You just want to see, like, does he kick it into that next gear, potentially? Don't know, but bold predictions, throw them out there.
I like it.
There you go. All right. I was going to do second team All-SEC, but I thought you were going to just vilify me if I did that. So I had to go first team. Because you just said that's not bold enough. So originally I wanted to do second team, but that's okay. All right. What else you guys got? Bold predictions.
Brett is unhappy with us, but Brett, I was actually thinking about doing an Amari Allen bold prediction, but then I was like, no, because he just gave us that bold prediction last show we did. But just know the thought was there, Brett. Okay, I was thinking about Amari Allen. I know he's on the radar.
Big Wild Brett. I also had Bowen as first team All-SEC was going to be one of my other choices, but I figured I would antagonize you today instead and just go with Darian Reed as a possibility. So, all right, there you go.
Here's one from Otis. Bold prediction: Florida could fall out of the top 25. Anything can happen. And as someone who just had a bold prediction of Florida will flirt with an undefeated conference record, I'll sit here and tell you 1,000% that could happen. You never know. Who knows? Spacing doesn't work out at all. Xavier Lee doesn't translate right away in year one off the Ivy. They really, really miss the multiple ball handlers at Richard at the 3 as well. The freshmen don't pan out. Anything can happen. 100%. I'm not going to sit here and say it can't.
It's bold. Yeah, like you said, anything can happen. But it's a bold one. But that's what we do here. It's all about bold.
Say this: what happens if do you see any possible way Florida falls out of that top 4 March Madness seed, top 5 March Madness seed? They're a 6, a 7, an 8. That's what they are come March with no injuries. Do you see that as a possibility?
Oh, well, okay.
No injuries.
Injuries. No.
It's just like something doesn't work out that badly.
No.
Okay.
I think they're too talented. I think the people are not talking enough about the guys behind the guys. I don't think we're giving enough credit
talk about Micah.
To the bench players. Like they got the depth, man. And I think injuries would be the only thing that would hold them back. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. How about we talk about Florida for a second, too? Because we were going to wrap up with our thoughts. We're going to start doing this regularly, once a week probably. We're going to kind of give you some early thoughts on kind of one of the bigger non-conference games. Max, the Florida Gators open against the Arizona Wildcats, as we mentioned.
Wait, can you just say that again?
Yeah, Florida opens up against the Arizona Wildcats. Let that settle in for a second.
Open up.
Yeah.
We get to start the season with this beauty right here. Put this on Twitter, expecting to spark a little bit of a conversation around the Gators opening matchup, and it took off, Blake. The people are ready for hoops, it's safe to say. And now I do have also Arizona's full lineup and Florida's full lineup that we can bring up to take a look up and take a look at as well. As Blake is so excited with the matchup, he can't even sit in his chair. That's how excited we are, folks. So, guys, as you look at this initial matchup, now if you're watching this in advance, as we're talking about this on July 15th, this is going to be in Vegas. Okay. This is on November 3rd to not tip off the season 100%, but as far as big time games are, this is the first big time tip off game. It's going to be on a Monday. Right now, Torvik projects an opening line of Florida -1.5. From people I've talked to and just comments from other discussion, I think that's going to be a little bit more like Florida -2, Florida -3, but it's really not going to change too much. If that's what the predictive analytics are telling us, there's really not much that's going to change in 100 days. So it's probably going to be a Florida short favorite. You've got an experienced Florida front court against a Arizona team with a lot of new faces, most notably Blake. Koa Pete, if you have not familiarized yourself with the new freshman, start watching some of those FIBA U19 highlights. There's a lot of the top guys that played in that. You'll get a updated look at them compared to just their high school highlights that are out there. Pete is going to be a problem. You got Burries and Awaka running the show there. Also ex-SEC guard Jaden Bradley. And then Karchenkov. I don't know too much about him. International, as you can see. But he's supposed to be pretty good as well.
Yeah, to me, one of the easy things that stands out, like you talked about, I mean, you're talking about a team that's probably putting in 3 freshmen off the bat, right? So I think that is clearly something that probably stands out a bit. Just you're going to have some younger guys joining the mix here. And then there's a lot of freshmen on the roster, period, for this team. And so how does that kind of go in game 1 against the defending national champions? I think that's a clear storyline in this game. Skylar asked, where's this game being played? Yeah, in Vegas.
Vegas.
In Vegas. So that is, something too, where I think, sure, you'll have a lot of Arizona fans there, but Florida's the defending national champs. You're going to have a lot of Big Gator EJ fans there too. Not just Florida fans. There's going to be a lot of fans of Big Gator EJ in the audience, yes. I think, in that game. But yeah, I mean, you've got, as we talked about, kind of a core group for Florida that's played together a lot. And yeah, like it's the most exciting storyline to me is just, it's the Boogie Flan aspect. It's what does he look like game 1? Going up against an experienced guy in Jaden Bradley, of course, who used to be at Alabama. Toby Awaka used to be at Tennessee. I think, yeah, like that's the backcourt has all the attention, right, Max? I mean, there's no other way to put it. We know what to expect from those 3 guys in the front court. It's just you immediately if you want to talk about overreaction, we are all going to overreact to the first 10 minutes of this Florida-Arizona game, whether it goes the best you could ask for or Fland and Lee combined for 5 turnovers in 10 minutes. We are all going to overreact to that no matter what. But I think, we'll kind of see how it goes with that. But that's clearly the biggest storyline. So,
yeah, I saw a lot of people on my tweet that I put out of this game right away just talking about the size difference. If you look at the whole matchup here, you can see Tommy H there at the 3 is just going to be a matchup nightmare, size advantage against almost any team here for Florida. But make no mistake about it. This is an Arizona team that has now a senior Tobe Awaka, and now while he's only 6'8", he's not really too much of a rim protector, too much of a rim deterrent defensively. On the boards, he might be the best rebounder in this matchup. He finished second in the Big 12 in defensive rebounding percentage and offense. He was top 2 in both offensive and defensive rebounding. We know from Tennessee just how much of a beast rebounder he is. The only thing is he's not usually out there for all too long. Well, they've got Motijes Krivas in behind him, who battled with injuries last year. 7'2". You got Pete. You've got these international freshmen in the front court behind him. I don't think the rebounding in the front court advantage is going to be as much as people think just off the bat from looking at the starting lineups. Skill-wise, Florida definitely has the advantage, but the sense of, wow, they're just going to be able to just outmatch them physically. When Awaka's not in there, it's 7'2" Krivas. They've got a few other 6'11" guys, and Pete is a beast there at 6'8". So the kind of the early reactions of, wow, Florida's just going to dominate physically. I think it's going to be a little bit more of, they're going to dominate if they do dominate because of the continuity, because of the championship experience, because of how Ha, Condon, Chinulu, Hinlockton can rotate in with each other. I think that'll be a bigger advantage rather than like the actual physicality.
Shane asked, yeah, they do have Bryce James, of course, the son of LeBron, went to Sierra Canyon, but I mean, he's a 3-star recruit. I don't really see him necessarily playing a big role in this team, just right off the bat, at least. So, yeah, but he is there, and I was a big Jaden Bradley guy when he was at Alabama. I think you could see, obviously the high potential. He's done some good things at Arizona, the past couple of seasons, and like you mentioned, I think seeing the development of Awaka has been kind of fun to see what he's done there. But clearly an Arizona team, never surprised when a Tommy Lloyd, of course, who came over from Gonzaga, was Mark Few's associate head coach for years. Not surprising that they are loading a team up that's just got a ton of size. Up front, you've got bigger guards. I think that's just kind of the way that they would like to play. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, what would you say in terms of like a projection for Arizona right now? Actually, here's a good barometer if we want to use the Vanderbilt test, Max.
Oh,
where is
yes.
Arizona currently ranked in the DraftKings National Championship odds? I don't think this should surprise some people, but it may. They currently are right behind Arkansas in the national championship odds. So Kentucky at plus 1,800 for reference, Louisville plus 2,200, Arkansas plus 2,200, and then you have Arizona at plus 2,500 along with Kansas. So Arizona slotted ahead of Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, and so forth right now. So that's kind of your projections. You're looking at a top 15 type team. So.
Yep. On Torvik's early analytics, they have Florida as 5th and Arizona as 12th. So that kind of averages out with the odds there as well. Yep. Total of 158, Blake. Torvik's got a projection of 80 to 78. I would probably think that that's gonna go a little bit higher, just with how I think Florida's offense is going to be better than it was last year, and I don't think Arizona, besides Krivas, is going to have too much deterrent around the rim. I think that'll be the difference in a matchup like this. Will be, how does Awaka, Pete, and Krivas hold up against the Florida front court? Because I think that's the main advantage here. Like Bradley Sr., Burries, and as if I bring up the Arizona depth chart here, Del Orso too has been there for a while, and they got some international guys that are pretty highly recruited. So I think the backcourts both have questions of like, is it going to translate? We got some guys that we really like, some we don't know how they're going to be, but then that front court, man, I trust Florida just a little bit more continuity, a little bit more offensive production, offensive efficiency than Arizona. I think that's the difference.
Yep, I am with you. Okay, so there's some kind of early thoughts on the Gators and the Wildcats. Max, anything else you want to add? And then we're gonna give you our pick for the next week's game of what we're gonna talk about.
Chris with a good comment here saying not even talking about Urban, Brown, and Mikic here for Florida. And yeah, like Blake said earlier, we've just stopped. They've got really good that we don't even talk about Micah Hinlockton anymore. 2 years ago, led the SEC in offensive rebounding rate. You're right on, Chris. Exactly. Not even mentioning these guys.
Yeah, it should be a good game, but I mean, look, my expectation right now is Florida's simply better, and we'll see. I think Arizona, again, with the newcomers, that's going to be the biggest story. Is very talented freshmen. You've got kind of the anchors with the two older guys, and Bradley and Awaka, and then we've mentioned the anchors for this Florida roster. It is that big core four in the front court, and really just seeing how the backcourt plays out. And as I said earlier, an underrated bench that I think we're going to realize maybe the thing that actually gives Florida the best chance to win another national championship. is the contributions they're going to get from those guys off the bench. So there you have it. Thoughts on the Florida Gators and Arizona Wildcats? Again, we're going to do one of these a week. We may up that frequency a little bit as we get closer to the season, but we'll also do kind of schedule previews and that kind of stuff once we actually get full schedules. We all know we're waiting on those and everything. So we're not there yet, so we're going to preview the individual games. Max, I've made the executive decision. The game we're going to preview next week. Do you want to have any guesses?
I only know the only other, because I was looking as well, the only game I know that is the next day after that. I know there's Texas Duke, which is out there, but there are a lot of good early first few week matchups, so you could go a lot of different ways here.
Well, Max, I'm going to tell you, I am flipping the script on you because I'm not going with an early week match up. I'm going to go with one that's a little bit further into the season. Sam, my man, you nailed it. Kentucky St. John's on December the 20th. I think it'll be fun to kind of look at this St. John's team because they are, we want to talk about projections. They currently have the 7th best odds to win the national championship. And so I think it'd be fun to do an early look ahead, what you can expect from St. John's this season. And we'll obviously know more about those two teams middle of the season, but I think that's a fun matchup to take a look at. What do you think?
I'm here for it. We are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big one. All right. So there you go. That's the one we'll do next week. And again, we'll probably keep talking about a lot more of these coming up here soon. But for now, Max, that'll wrap up this particular show. Anything else you want to add on the way out?
Yeah. Don't forget to hang out with us for the mailbag. Come on. We're always talking SEC hoops.
Oh, wow. We got a mailbag coming up. I think that's tomorrow. I could be wrong. Maybe Thursday. I really don't know. It's going to be one of the 2 days. But the best way to find out what day it's going to be is to join the It Just Means More tier and turn on your notifications. Even if you're not a member, you will get notified when we do our members-only stuff. And I'm going to put this here in the comments. Remember, we got 5 new members in the chat already.
Keep it.
So that is already in there. And I'm going to tell you about our friends at ROKFORM real quick, too, before we wrap up. But check out the It Just Means More tier, our members-only mailbag. We do it every week where we go as long as you guys want to go answering your questions on SEC basketball in the offseason. So we'll do that tomorrow, most likely. And, yeah, we will kind of jump into some fun things there. Shout out to Aaron. Has the same polo. Aaron, I feel like 8 variations of the Under Armour polo. And I know you said you think I'm a Kohl's shopper. Actually, these all come from Academy Sports. So that's where I get all these. But they're the best shirt I've ever. I love it, Max. I love the material, So
can't complain.
Yeah, you can't complain. But I'll tell you who else is not going to complain. That's anybody, literally anyone that buys stuff from our friends at ROKFORM. A new sponsor alert, Max. We should have one of these like graphics on the screen where it pops up. It's just a horn that goes off.
Yeah.
New sponsor alert here at Southeastern 16. Our friends at ROKFORM. You can see it up there in the top left corner of your screen. My goodness, what a product that these guys put out. And if I was better prepared, boy, I would have something pulled up right now to show you exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm still going to try to do that. So if you are someone who's like, you know what, I dropped my phone or I watch my favorite team and I just want to throw it. I just want to throw my phone because my team's not running the offense. They turned the ball over for the 4th time in 2.5 minutes. I'm pissed off and I want to watch my team get better. Well, you can throw your phone as far as you want to throw it with our friends at ROKFORM. Because, Max, if we can get this on the screen, I don't know how we do it, but it's there. I'm trying to figure it out. Nope, that's not it. We're still working on this. We've got to get this on the screen somewhere, somehow. And there is a Florida Gator, perhaps, that is, there we go.
There you
go. The Gators didn't want to come off the screen. The
sign.
World's strongest magnetic phone case, just like Tommy H's basketball game. You're not going to find anything better. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting, rock lock.
Ooh,
that's a word right there. That's tremendous. Yep. So, man, it's tremendous stuff. ROKFORM, just an unbelievable product. They got golf stuff. If you want to get into their stuff, they got mounts. Again, the cases, the best you'll find. And I can't think of anything better for a sports fan, Max. Because we know as sports fans, we just like to throw our phones when our team loses a game. ROKFORM says, you know what? Just do whatever you want with it. We'll protect
I could have used that last year in multiple occasions. I could already think.
That Houston National Championship game, I think, Max, may have needed a ROKFORM. Nothing against you Florida fans, but we all know what was at stake. Still an open wound there for my friend Max Barr, and I apologize for that. But, hey, we got to sell the product here. So, all right. There you have it. So, Shane's got a ROKFORM case on the phone. I know Big Gator EJ was asking, do they do team logos on their cases? I'm not sure, but I wonder if that's in the works. We'll find out if that happens eventually. But keep aiding Tuscaloosa. They really do pander to Big Blue Nation with this new sponsorship. Talking about the throwing of the phones, I suppose, there. Keep aiding Tuscaloosa. But, all right. Yes, it is ROKFORM. ROKFORM. Put the link in the description. We appreciate friends at ROKFORM. All right, we're out of here. Thank you guys for watching.
Wait.
Oh, we're not. Oh, well.
I was up to no good while you were doing that. I just wanted to give a little tease. For why you might want to tune in next Tuesday. Would you get a look at that?
Oh my!
Ooh.
Wow! Look at that right there. Oh my! Look at Brandon Garrison. He's like, it's time. We're ready for this. Oh, man. December 20th. Mark it down. Can't get here soon enough. We are previewing a game that is 5 months away next week. That's what we do here. Because, yes, we do talk basketball at Southeastern 16 here. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Check in. Top of the hour. SEC football media day reaction going on with our friends Chris Lee and Jay Greason on the channel. They'll be live at the top of the hour. Check it out. And again, we appreciate you guys, as always, for watching. And
my eye is attacking me now.
Just the comment section is the best. We appreciate your support, the super chats, all that fun stuff. And we'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16. Members mailbag tomorrow. Don't forget.